All right, let's get this show on the road. How can you actually get more people, more of your life insurance prospects to answer the phone? Let's crack into it. Mastering virtual sales is the key to selling more life insurance. Hey, everybody, welcome into the show today. This is our first live broadcast that we're doing on Clubhouse, and we're also doing it on LinkedIn at the same time. So I want to make sure that everyone knows exactly how to get in on the action. If you're watching me over on LinkedIn, you can see at the bottom there how to follow me on Clubhouse. And you can also on LinkedIn leave your comments. But if you're following with me here over on Clubhouse, you want to go ahead, log into the room, get in there so that we can have this open, honest discussion. I mean, there are some things here, and I'm looking for something over here on my screen here so that I can see your comments that come in over on LinkedIn, because we want to make sure that we answer all of those questions. But also, look, let me just tell you, I've been licensed, I was first licensed in life and health back in 1994, which is a long time ago. If you're watching me on LinkedIn, you can tell that, I got some salt and pepper here in the beard. So just turned 52 last year in 2021. And by the way, Happy New Year, everyone. Now we are in 2022. So this is a long time coming. So many different life insurance agents out there right now. They're struggling. They're stuck. They just don't even know how to grow faster, how to do what needs to be done in order to actually, let's just call it, make a living. Because we already know that, look, if you are an average life insurance agent, you're only making about 50 grand a year. That's it. You're making about 50 grand a year if you are an average life insurance agent. And this is troubling because we see so many of these stories that are out there. People making 30 grand, 50 grand, my gosh, 100 grand or more. And we're wondering how in the heck they're doing these things. I mean, you see it all the time. You see it every day. But if you're not one of those folks that are actually doing that, you kind of are stuck. You're maybe even a little bit frustrated in regards to what's going on, because you're thinking that there is something wrong with you. You're thinking that there is definitely something going on that either you just don't know, maybe you think you're not smart enough, you don't have enough drive, whatever it is. Now, the thing about this is, when I was first licensed back in 1994, obviously we did not have the internet. The internet was something that was just, I can't even call it infancy stage. It was just non-existent. So we couldn't run a Facebook ad. We couldn't buy Facebook leads. Basically, what we had is the telephone, and we had our cars, and we went door knocking. And some of this, people are still yet doing today, which I think is really just crazy that stuff is still going on. But when I think back on my journey and how that journey for so many life insurance agents literally has not changed. It has not changed. And what I mean by that is we're still doing the same things that we were doing back in 1994, 1987, 1973. There's a reason why we're still doing those things, and we can get into some of that now, or even in this show. And if you've got questions, if you're tuned in with me on Clubhouse, thanks a bunch. If you're tuned in with me over on LinkedIn, go ahead and give me a shout out. I'd love to know that you're here. And be able to take your questions there as well. There are a lot of different IMOs, FMOs, agencies that are out there that claim to be the best. I mean, quite frankly, all of them claim to be the best, no matter which one it is that we're talking about. But the interesting thing about how I got started, and a lot of people call it, multi-level marketing, with a lot of the things that are out there, And I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with the term multi-level marketing. I think that the term comes from what it is. It's a multi-level. And if you're an insurance agent, especially if you're an independent agent, depending on the agency that you're with, you have an upline and you have a downline. That's multi-level. Doesn't mean there's anything wrong with that. Doesn't mean that it should be a scary thing or something that you don't want to get involved in or whatever. But here's where some of the things that I went through came into play. I won't call out the name of the agency, but you can probably figure it out for yourself, especially if you've been in for a while. But the whole premise of, I went and got my license. I passed on the very first try. I was back in I was about 24 years old, somewhere around in there, 24, 25. Passed that licensing exam, got my license. But before I did that, the agency that I was with, they were real heavy on recruiting. They were, just heavy on recruiting. And they'd bring you in with the hype and everything else. You can make a ton of money here and you'll be able to do this and you'll be able to do that. But the thing about it is that before I got my license, my upline wanted all of my warm market. Now, I didn't know what was going on at the time. I had absolutely nothing, in regards to knowledge about the life insurance industry and how it worked. I was just a young guy following someone that I actually trusted. And, we went through some of my warm market in my church, in the neighborhood. I got into places where he couldn't get. He was an older gentleman, in his 40s, approaching his 50s. And so he had some clout and, he actually made some sales because of the people that I brought him to. I didn't make any money. I didn't make a dime off of that because I didn't know at the time. And I want to make sure that you folks are very clear on some of this stuff, especially as we get into how to get more of your leads to answer your phone. I just want to give you some of my own background here and some of the things that I wish I had known back then that I know today. And there's a lot of things like that. Now, one of the things when it comes down to getting people to actually answer the phone, right? When it comes down to getting people to actually answer the phone when you're calling, I want you to understand and I want you to realize that there are some key factors in this thing. So many people, when they get into the life insurance industry, they really think that because they buy leads or that they get leads or, however you get them, that everything is going to be great, especially for the first couple of times that either, you get leads or you buy leads, however it is that you do it, you get a stack of 20 leads and you think, oh gosh, this is just so much money and I'm just going to be rich now. Or you get a stack of 100 leads and oh my gosh, I'm really going to make it now. And then you start dialing. Every life insurance agent understands what it means to have a dial day, to have a day where you grab your leads and you go to dialing. And the first day that you ever do it, you're full of anticipation, you're full of excitement. That quickly turns because people don't answer the phone. It quickly turns into something that can really send you down a path of disillusionment. You thought it was going to be a certain way, but it turns out that, it's not this way. It is another way, which means that you're going to actually have to do some work. And this is where a lot of people can really either dig in or simply quit. It comes to a point where you're either going to dig in or you're going to quit. And I tell you what, I give kudos to those that are able to stick it out and really able to dig in there and take rejection and all of these other things. But you almost feel like, someone give me a shout out here. Do you feel this way? It almost feels like you've wasted your time. It almost feels like you've simply wasted your time. Because now you are dialing. If you only have 20 leads, you've dialed those 20 leads. No one's answered the phone. Or someone or a couple of people have answered the phone and they've given you the excuses that you're accustomed to getting now. Oh, I didn't fill out that lead form. No, that wasn't me. I'm busy. Can you call me back tomorrow? All of these, whatever the excuse is that you get, but you start to understand and realize that sales is something that is not easy. And if you don't understand that you're in a career that is strictly based on sales, I mean, you're on commission. So you only make money if you make a sale. And I do hope you have a very high commission of 100% or more. And if you don't, you really need to start investigating that. Because if you're out here selling life insurance and you're making 30% commission, 60% commission, but you're selling the same life insurance type of policies that, I'm just telling you, there are people out here that make 100%, 125, 130% commission, even higher. So you want to make sure that you're doing that. But this is a sales job. Now, of course, you don't want to come off like a sales person. That's a whole nother issue that we're going to dive into and dig into with that. But I want to paint the picture for you so that you can actually live in reality instead of fantasy. And living in reality means that, there are going to be definite trials and tribulations that you're going to have to go through. But the good news is you can get through them. You can get through them. I mean, I work with people that are doing $400K a year. $400K a year in life insurance sales. Now, you've heard these numbers, and it's, I work with people that make that much. I work with people that do, 15 grand a month. I work with people that do 40 grand a month. And there is something that is definitely different about someone that is making 50 to 100 grand as opposed to someone that's not. Now, what's funny is so many times, excuse me, I had to cough there. So many times when people come into this industry and I've asked them, especially brand new life insurance agents, what's your goal? What is it that you actually want to accomplish, monetarily? Let's just go from there. How much money is it that you actually, want to make on a consistent basis? And I'll get very low numbers. And this is only my opinion, right? I'll get very low numbers. Well, if I can make $5,000 a month, I'd be happy. Okay. Do you know how much people are making in this industry? And they'll be like, oh no, I know you can make a lot more, but this is all that I want to make. And I'm like, okay, great. So what is it that you think you need to do to accomplish that goal? That's like one of the first things that I want to ask is like, if you only want to make $5,000 in a month, why is that the goal? And the thing about this is, especially when you get into self-development and things of that nature, I want you to take a real good look at yourself right now. And I want you to understand something is that the amount of money that you're making right now, is because that is a set point that you have. I don't care what the amount is or whatever. You don't go much beyond, you don't go much below. You kind of stay right in the median area there. Whatever the amount of money it is that you're making, whether it's a full-time job, whether it's a career, whether it's in a corporate environment, whether you're door dashing, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. The amount of money that you make is because that is the set point that you have. And for some reason, it takes people a little bit to understand that, you know what? I can raise that set point. I mean, kind of tongue in cheek here, the government raises the debt ceiling every freaking year. Raise your income ceiling to what you believe it is that you can make. If you need to go in 5K increments or 1K increment or whatever it is, but you need to start realizing that you can do more than that. And so when you look at, okay, if I want to make $5,000 a month and that's all that I want to make, but let's say you want to make 50K a month. Well, obviously, that's a different mindset. That's a different way of thinking about exactly what is going on, not just in your business, because your business is you. I know you sell life insurance for whatever agency it is that you work for, but what you have to understand is people aren't buying that agency. People are buying you. People are buying the trust and belief that you give to them, and that's why they make a decision to go ahead and purchase. You are the brand. And let me just tell you something. If you come across thirsty, if you come across desperate to make a sale, people know that. People know that. If you don't understand and know that person that you're talking to or that person that you're sitting in front of, or however it is that you do it, they want to know that they are the most important thing as far as the topic of conversation goes. And people can tell when you're trying to push them into something that they really don't want to be into. But let's get back to the whole thing about people not answering the phone. And once again, if you're watching me on YouTube, I was going to say that. If you're watching me on LinkedIn, go ahead and give me a shout out in the comments there so I can see those and acknowledge you. And make sure you can go ahead and put in your questions. I'm here with you every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I come live in my Clubhouse club, which is Life Insurance Lead Generation. You can follow me on Clubhouse. If you're watching me on LinkedIn right now, you see right below there. And also make sure that you do check out the website, www.lifeinsuranceleadgenerator.com. So what is the difference between the 50K, 60K, 100K a month person and someone that's not at that level? Well, it comes down to how it is that you're working the lead. So let's get into that. And we're going to get into scripts and some of my philosophies around scripts and things of that nature as well. But here's the difference. People that make a high income in this business are not the ones out here complaining about leads. They're not complaining about lead quality. They're not complaining about people not answering the phone. I'm just telling you what's real. Hey there, Elaine. Thank you so much for being here during the live broadcast. Glad to have you here. If you got any questions, you can go ahead and type them in as well. And I'd be glad to answer your questions. So thanks to Elaine over there following us over on LinkedIn. This is great. All right. They're not complaining. People at a high level are not complaining about the leads. Why are they not complaining about the leads? They're not complaining about the leads because they actually don't care. You have all of these people out here talking about lead quality, right? The quality. I need more high intent leads. Can I just tell you something here? You don't control any of that. No one does. The reason why you don't control any of that is because you don't control the person that's filling out the form. You don't control if they're really thinking about something 1 minute and then they just completely forgot about it or don't even care about it the next. How many times have you clicked on links and you've asked for information, but you've never done anything with it? We seem to have this tendency as life insurance agents to think that, everybody needs to have life insurance and they ought to take this seriously. Well, that's all good and true, all fine and true. But if that was the case, it could be the same thing for people that, want to lose weight or get in better health. Everybody should be in good health. Well, not everybody is because of our own internal, reasons. Same thing with people that fill out lead forms. Now, how do we get beyond this? How do we actually get people to answer the phone? The thing is, let's just be real. Not everybody is going to buy life insurance from you. There's something in the back of our mind sometimes where we feel like just because we've purchased a lead or we've done some things, we've ran our own Facebook ads or whatever it is that you want to call it, we feel like we're owed something. We're owed something. And this is just completely not true. No one owes us anything. No one owes us to answer our phone calls. No one owes us to buy life insurance from us, no matter how you feel about it. No matter how we feel about it, it doesn't matter. So how do we get beyond this? You stop worrying about the people that aren't answering the phone. You stop worrying about the people that aren't buying from you. And we're going to get into some of those strategies as well. And you focus on the people that pay attention and do. You focus on the people that do pay attention, that do answer the phone, that do engage with you. That's your job. It's not easy. So let me tell you about the strategies that people that are doing 60, 80, 100K a month have. I want you to imagine, I'm looking for something here on my desk, and I was, for whatever reason, I don't have a sheet of paper or whatever. But anyway, just imagine you're holding a stack of paper, right? You're holding a stack of paper. And on each of these stacks of paper is 10 leads, right? So you've got a nice stack. Let's just say there are 100 leads in this stack. Now I'm giving you the answer to the question. I'm giving you the answer to the question. And either you're going to do this and understand that this is the way that people at a high level do it, or you'll ignore it and you won't do it. So I'm going to give you the strategy. You've got a stack of 100 leads. There's 10 leads on each page. So that means you've got 10 pages. That equals 100 leads if I remember my middle school math. All right. So what people at a high level do is this. They get the first page, they call all 10 leads. And I'm talking about this is how they physically do it, right? And I don't care whether you do this digitally. I don't care if you literally have stacks of paper and you mark things off and you have folders. That works for, a lot of people, right? So you call all those 10 leads. Let's say none of them answer the phone. None of them, right? It's 8 o'clock in the morning. You're starting your dial day. You got 100 leads. You're calling those first 10 leads. Those first 10 leads that you call, this is what 100K a month producers do. They will call each of those leads 3 times in succession. The first lead, I'm calling them 3 times. Okay, they didn't answer. I'm going to the next one, calling it 3 times. So that first page, that's 30 dials that they've done, but no one answered the phone. I'm just giving you a scenario. They move that paper to the bottom of the stack and they start on this stack. That's 30 more dials that they'll do. Maybe someone on this page answers the phone, but says, oh, I didn't do that, right? Oh, that wasn't me. Now, I want to dive in here for a minute. Why do people do that? Wouldn't you like to know? I mean, I'm sure this is something that you would like to know. Okay, why do people fill out a form and say all of a sudden, when you call them, I didn't do that? What I want you to understand is just like when you go into the mall, right? You go into the mall and you walk into a store and the clerk says, how can I help you? What do you say? I'm just looking. Why? Because you don't want to be pushed into buying something, or it's just, and we've always done this, right? You've done this since you were a kid, since you were able to go somewhere by yourself and walk into a mall and someone says, can I help you? Oh, I'm just looking. It's the same thing when we call certain people on the phone. It's just a different level. Now, there have been times where, just hear me, there have been times when you've walked into a mall and you've walked into a store and someone has said, can I help you find something? And you've said, yes, I'm looking for this particular pair of shoes. You've done this. There's a difference of intent that's involved. The same thing with the leads that you have coming in right now. It's a different level of intent. So now you're on your second page and you're dialing each of these leads now 3 times a piece, back to back. So that's 30 dials. All right. So you've done that. You had one lead on there that said, I was just, they did the I'm just looking thing, right? Or I didn't do that. All right. So you circle that lead or you make some sort of mark on that lead and you say, I'll call them tomorrow, or you make a note. Now that second page goes to the bottom of the stack. Now you're on your third page. 2 people actually answer the phone and 2 people say, they go through your whole spiel. You want to book an appointment so that they can, get life insurance. However you have your, thing set up. Sometimes you'll do a 2-call close. Sometimes you'll try and do a 1-call close. However that is. But now you've got 2 people that are engaged. 2 people now. And then you finish running that list. And so you mark those 2 people that answered, you booked an appointment with those 2 people, so on and so forth. You move that stack to the bottom of the pile. Now you're on page 4. You're doing the same thing over and over again. Now you're down to the last page, and then you move that last page down to the bottom. What the 100K a month earners do is they start that dialing process over again. They start it over again. They will call those leads upwards of 12 to 27 times in a day. I'm just telling you what they're doing. Look, I talk to these people every day. I'm telling you what it is that they're doing. Why are they doing that? They're doing that because here's the thing, and you probably, if you've been in for even a little while, you probably have stacks and stacks of old leads. You have stat, and you said, well, I called all those people and, they didn't answer or whatever, and da 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 da. If you don't, what you have to understand is that there are only 3%. I don't care what industry we're talking about. I don't care what it is. Only 3% of any industry population are ready to buy right now. 3%. That means that all of your money is in the follow-up. Because 3% may go ahead and buy right now. But all of your money, when you're going to be serious about this, you have to understand that it is in your follow-up. It is in reaching back out to those people that have not answered your calls, that have not answered your emails. It's in the constant follow-up of that. But what so many agents, especially brand new agents, will do is they'll just say, well, they didn't answer the phone, and then they go on and buy some more leads, which is okay. Or they'll get some more leads, or they'll run some more Facebook ads, or whatever it is that they'll do. That's all fine and good. But what about the hundreds and the thousands of leads that you've already purchased that you have not maintained your follow-up with? We're so worried about people answering the phone, and sometimes we literally get offended when they don't answer. And we think, oh, I'm not messing with those people anymore. You're losing money. You're losing money. And when you talk about your script, and I want to get into this more, we're almost at 30 minutes now that we've been on, and I don't want to take this much past 30 minutes. And once again, if you do have questions, whether you're on Clubhouse or whether you're on LinkedIn, go ahead and type those in or raise your hand over on Clubhouse, and we can take care of you right then and there. All right, so when you talk about your scripts and what it is that you're saying to people on the phone, there's a definite way to do that. And I want to get into some of these things about what are you saying on the phone. This can really drill down some things. I know everyone is so obsessed with a script, as if a script is the thing that's going to make them successful. Let me just tell you, spoiler alert, a script is a framework. It is not for the professional to read word for word. You may have to read it word for word at the beginning until you get your chops down and all that other kind of stuff. And especially if you're brand new and you're not used to sales, because this is sales. If you're not used to sales, you may have to rely on that for a minute. But one of the most important things, and I'm just going to give you this little tidbit here. You want to make sure that if at all possible, you can record each and every sales conversation that you have. Because when you do that and go back and listen, you can start seeing where you're faltering. You can start seeing where you're not being as effective. You can start seeing where you can do better. But if you don't record your sales calls, now I'm talking to you as a person that leads a sales team. I'm talking to you as a person that has been able to get a company within the first 2 years of business doing over $2 million a year. Sales teams is what I know. We record every conversation so that we can get better and better at what it is that we do. You are a sales professional. Yes, you are a life insurance broker. You are a life insurance agent. You know all these things about the different policies. But at the end of the day, you are in sales. Hey, listen, I want to thank you guys for tuning in today. I'm here with you every single Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Leave me a comment, and I'll see you on the next broadcast. Happy New Year. Hey, I want to thank you so much for tuning into the show today. Make sure you follow me on Clubhouse at Earl Hall and visit the website www.lifeinsuranceleadgenerator.com. We'll see you on the next episode.